So what does it actually involve? Well, as I've touched on, innovation is really difficult to define, and depending on the type of organisation, they may well know what innovation is and consider themselves to be innovative, or they might need a little bit of help in defining it. So what we would do is a workshop which gets key people in the organisation together and actually defines what innovation means within their context. It'll be a visioning workshop, so we'll be challenging you in terms of what world-class organisations do, what your competitors do, and from our knowledge, what other innovative companies do, and we'll be challenging you to say what areas do you want to be innovative and what do you want your organisation to look like in 5–10 years' time. On the back of that, we'll do an assessment which essentially helps us identify where you are in terms of your current innovation capability. There are 5 level maturity scale behind this. So we'd be looking at where you currently are, where you want to be, and supporting you close that gap. Now it's about identifying key areas, because ideally you would have a culture of innovation and you would be innovative in all the key areas against our framework, but we know that with time constraints that's not necessarily possible. So it's about helping you prioritise and identify the areas that are going to add the greatest value for you and helping you improve your innovative thinking. In order to close that gap, we'll help you to identify action plans. So it's all very well saying this is where you are, this is where you want to be. It's about how do you get there, and we'll provide the challenge and the ideas of how you actually improve your innovative capability and how you embed it and make it sustainable, so that it's not just about this programme. There are so many programmes, and that's been the feedback from Invest and Enterprise Ireland and Intertrade, that there are so many programmes, but when the programme stops, then what happens? And the idea behind this programme is there are 3 levels of accreditation, so you can move between them. It is a journey and you're always trying to improve, but the sustainability element makes sure that the processes that you put in place are actually sustainable in the long term. Then of course throughout the programme there'll be mentoring and innovation support, continuous challenge. PwC do the delivery of the programme purely because we have the capability and the innovation background, and also the links with tax and other areas that will be valuable to the companies involved. C4C do all the FQM accreditation, so they will be the external accrediting body and will come in at the end. And as I said, there's 3 levels of accreditation. So what are the benefits? Some people will say, oh, another programme, this is just what we need. But there are some differences within this programme that we were specifically asked to focus on, and that we believe will actually make a difference within the local economy. Creation of significant differential market space. This is initially an Ireland-wide programme. It was the Belfast PwC office that have been involved in its development with C4C, but we are going to roll it out nationally and internationally. The creation of the programme, I involved a guy from our New York office who's very involved, and he's worked with a lot of Wall Street firms and is a sort of innovation guru, and he helped us with a lot of the detail behind this. We've also been in contact with the Spanish office and some work they've been doing in Canada, so we do want to roll it out nationally, and I'm under a bit of pressure from our GB firm wanting to get their hands on it, but for once we want to be able to sell Northern Ireland as the success story. For once they need to be first as opposed to being on the back of everybody else, and obviously we want to close that innovation gap that exists. In terms of the public sector, we hope to roll it out within the public sector. We've had expressions of interest both north and south, because they have to become more efficient and more innovative to reduce their costs. So that's where we see it being in a few years, but what we want to do with the first phase rollout is very much use local companies, get the case studies up, do the publicity, get the good news stories out there before we launch it elsewhere. Other benefits could include obviously improved economic performance. You know, if it is increased sales revenues, you're after, you know, we would be looking at new ways of identifying new markets, new opportunities, collaboration, improved employee engagement we've already touched on. The external recognition allows participants to publicly celebrate wins. So PwC are very much in the space that they want to to do a lot of publicity around this. We want to do a launch, we want to do dinners where we get participants together, we want to get the local politicians involved and say, look, this is what Northern Ireland's done, and obviously 12 months down the line, these are what the benefits will be. And I think the community aspect of it is very important, and the feedback from the pilot scheme was very much they enjoyed that. There was public, private and voluntary organisations involved, and when they met up at the end, they met people from the same sector, they met people from different sectors, and the idea sharing and the learning capacity of that was really important. It's amazing, we were out with one company last week and they said they'd never spoken to their competitors, and they met a company at an event and it turned out they were doing exactly the same thing, and there was that sort of suspicion between each other and they hadn't spoken before. And actually this is about, you know, there's no trade secrets given away, this is what works, it's celebrating what works, and therefore it's in everyone's interest to actually work together, and it's amazing the opportunities that that presents. Just to give you an idea of some of the comments that came from the pilot programme, as I said, it was only a 3-month programme, so we're not in a position to say they had X number of new sales on the back of it, but these are the comments that came out, just to pick a few. You know, the benefits have been exceptional. It transformed the way we think about innovation and its relevance to our organisation, and will help us support our rapidly growing business. So the comments were really positive, and I think all the organisations involved, as Paul will allude to in his presentation, are keen to be involved moving forward. What we're trying to do at this stage is just get some more momentum around the programme. In terms of timelines, the programme was developed really, we finished developing it about 12 months ago nearly, but since then we have been working with some local private and public sector organisations to essentially capacity test it, to check that they think it's relevant and to get their input in it. And we've also been doing all the trademarking. Obviously we're not going to go out there and support organisations in managing their intellectual property if we're not going to manage ours. So the programme is now ready to launch. We're taking expressions of interest, and the first phase is going to be in January, where, as I say, we're going to do the kick-off event. We are looking to roll it out at sort of quarterly intervals with groups of companies. We've got some people signed up to the first phase, and the feedback there has been they want a variety of organisations from different sectors to make it beneficial. So these are just my contact details. So that gives you an overview of just the programme, what it's about and where it came from. As I mentioned before, the reason PwC are the delivery agents on it is because of our the wide range of services we provide, and there's a very strong link with the innovation R&D tax relief scheme. So Ian's going to talk a little bit about that and about how you can go about claiming back your investments in innovation activities.